Hello everyone, myself Kana Rohit Reddy. Now I am going to explain about the VPC, which refers to Virtual Private Cloud in DigitalOcean. So, what basically a Virtual Private Cloud? Virtual Private Cloud is a virtual network within a public cloud provider such as DigitalOcean. Like public cloud provider can be anything like DigitalOcean, AWS, Azure, and what it does is that it provides a secure and isolated environment for the resources, allowing us to configure our network infrastructure and manage access. And then benefits of using a VPC. So the major benefit of using a VP is enhanced security. So how it is going to enhance security is that it isolates the resources from other tenants on the public cloud. It reduces the risk of unauthorized access, and thus it enhances the security. Coming to network control, like we have full control on our network configuration, including subnets, IP addresses, and routing rules. So we are going to configure the rules and the type of request based on our choice. Thus, it helps us to have full control over network and allows only specific types of requests based on our need. And then scalability. So what VPC does is that it allows us to easily scale our network infrastructure as our application needs to grow. Assume that we have started a small application for a simple use, and then we are trying to scale it to for many functions, like in order to the application to make many functions, so that the virtual private cloud helps us in enabling the scalability. And then the cost optimization. So VPC helps us to optimize network costs by allowing us only to pay for the resources we use. Thus, it helps in optimizing the cost as much as possible. And then how to create a VPC in DigitalOcean. Creating a VPC. Like first we have to log into the DigitalOcean account, and we are going to navigate to the VPC section. And then we are going to select create VPC and we should provide a name for the VPC. This name can be chosen by us, or it is auto-generated by the DigitalOcean software itself. I'm going to show the practical implementation of how to create a VPC in the next video. And then we are going to define VPC settings. Like we are going to specify the region where we want to create VPC. Uh, DigitalOcean provides various regions, like it provides Bangalore in India, and then San Francisco, New York, and various other nations. And then and then like we are going to set the IP address range and the number of subsets. It is automatically generated, or we can customly set to whatever we want. And then we are going to launch our VPC so that it will be in effect and it can be used. And then now I'm going to discuss about configuring subnets and IP address and IP addressing. So subnets, what are meant by subnets? Subnets are logical divisions within our virtual private cloud. So we can create multiple subnets within our VPC, each with a unique IP address range. This allows us to segment our network and control access between different parts of our infrastructure. So what's the major function of this is that we are logically going to group some networks to a particular tree network, like particular parent network. From the parent network, we are going to route the request based on the type of request, and then IP addressing. And we have to configure the IP addresses too here. And then each subnet has a specific IP address range that is used to identify the devices within that subnet. And DigitalOcean provides a range of IP addresses options, including IPv4 and IPv6. Like assume the subnetting as a parent node, like where whole the subnetting is done, and then the each child node of a tree, like a tree-like structure, represents the each device, and then these are routed based on the specific IP address. And then routing. And the routing rules determine how network traffic flows within our VPC. We can configure the routes to direct traffic to specific destinations such as web servers or databases. And then connecting resources within the VPC. Coming on to this droplets, like what are droplets? DigitalOcean droplets are virtual machines that we can deploy within our VPC, and we can connect droplets to our VPC and configure their network settings. If you see on the left diagram where router switch where networking diagram template is present. Here we can see the PC ring and then the router switch, internet, servers, and then desktop, various devices, and then the wireless router. This is the network diagram template. And then the load balancers. Load balancers distribute the traffic across multiple droplets, improving performance and availability. And then databases. We can connect to databases to the VPC and control access to them through security groups and access control lists. So VPC, what it does is that it imposes some certain rules on the resources so that only specific people can access the database, like any resources, and then only they can modify or they can use that. And then we can secure VPC with control lists and security groups. I'm going to see how we can do that. Security group. A security group acts as a firewall for our droplets, allows us to control inbound and outbound traffic. And then we can create multiple security groups and assign them to different droplets. Coming to access control list, which can be abbreviated to ACL, it can be applied to subnets and allows us to filter traffic based on source or destination IP addresses, ports, and protocols. And then ACLs, the access control list, provide a more granular level of control over network traffic compared to security groups. And then monitoring and managing our VPC, it plays a major role because if we don't correctly manage or monitor our VPC, then there is no function, there is no specific function of VPC. It's gonna lead to various things like security breaches and everything. So we should make sure and monitor our VPCs. So monitoring tools and DigitalOcean itself provides various monitoring tools, including built-in metrics and third-party integrations, so that we can monitor our network traffic, resource usage, and security events. Coming to network management, we can manage our VPC through DigitalOcean control panel, or API, or command line interface. And we can update our network configuration, and we can create new resources, and we can troubleshoot issues also. And then security best practices. Like, it's essential to follow the best practices when using VPCs. Like, this includes regularly updating our software and updating our security groups and the ACLs, and then limiting access to resources and using strong passwords. As you can see here on the right diagram, there is an created VPC. This is an overview of how created VPC looks like. And then scaling and expanding VPC infrastructure. So how we're going to scale that? We can horizontally scale. Like, what it means like horizontally scale is that assume that the more droplets, assume that we can add more droplets to our VPC to handle increased traffic or workload. So we are going to scale our infrastructure horizontally without impacting the performance of our existing resources. And then vertical scaling. And we can also scale our droplets vertically by increasing the amount of RAM, CPU, or storage. This is useful for applications that require more processing power or storage capacity. This is the difference between horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling. So in vertical scaling, we are going to increase the amount of RAM, CPU, or storage. But in the horizontal scaling, we are going to scale our infrastructure without impacting the performance of existing resources. And then the network optimization. As our VPC grows, it's important to optimize our network configuration to ensure optimal performance. So this includes various things like minimizing network latency, reducing packet loss, and maximizing bandwidth. And this is how we're going to create VPC and monitor the VPC and configure the VPC. And we are going to follow the best principles and practices so that in order for a secure server or application. Thank you.